I didn't have time to make this into a video because I'm busy, and also my last video got demonetized, which really sucks, and YouTube will not monetize it apparently because the F word was said in the first second, but it's so inaudible. I don't even know how they caught that. But yeah, I figure I'd just stream about it because that's kind of the problem in the first place, is to bring awareness to these things, like any sort of topic. Like, oh, that's the cat doing that. I was like, why is there an earthquake right now? It's spooky. Anytime you want to talk about this topic, it pretty much is going to get demonetized if it's a video, or just generally not promoted, at least not on YouTube. And what's funny is that YouTube plays a role in this as well, the topic of Twitch's TOS changing and what's happened as a result of it. And it's only been like less than 48 hours or something like that, and the site has pretty much gone downhill. So basically, Twitch changed their TOS to say that if you want to have certain levels of nudity on the stream or lewd content, that it's allowed now, versus before it was kind of like they'll allow some people to do it, not others, and it was kind of inconsistent. But now it's like a free-for-all, and it's really showing with how the turn the content has taken. As per usual, if you guys want to tip your message, you can at BrittanyVenti.com. You can super chat as well, but I just prefer through my website. But either is fine. And, you know, the porn issue is something that I've talked about a lot, and it's hard to continue talking about it when you know that you're just going to get, what's the word? Like, suffocated. You're going to get put under the water if you talk about it, and it's going to get demonetized. And a lot of people get really angry and defensive about it, as per usual for people who are drug users, for example. Very similar overlap there with how, you know, with addicts in general. What I really mean to say is addicts. With addicts in general, if you talk about their addiction, a lot of the time they get defensive, and I noticed the same pattern of behaviors in porn addicts. And really, the Twitch TOS changing is exactly how people become porn addicts in the first place. It starts from adolescence. It starts from kids being on the internet or being exposed to that content, and it affects how they view sex developmentally. Like, imagine your first exposure to it is basically a form of prostitution. That's not a very healthy worldview to have. And that's the reality we have now in this hypersexualized culture. So let me give you guys a little bit of a preview of what I'm talking about. Oh my goodness. Okay, Imgur is so annoying because they keep removing the screenshots I make, even if they're censored. Like, literally, even if they're censored. So I have to pull it up, like, individually and show you guys. So this is the image that everybody's been talking about. I censored it. I'm just going to even censor it even more just to be safe. Okay, so I went on the site myself to see like what the changes were with Twitch, and this is what I saw when I went on the page. So you guys know I'm banned from Twitch. I don't have an account. I'm not logged in, and you know, you go on the page and you just see this LGBTQIA plus, whatever that means, Dommy Mommy as a tag, and they're saying redhead mommy degenerate, and it's just like, it's very graphic, so I had to overly censor it, but it was, understand that it wasn't even just implied nudity, okay? It was full-blown nipples and hairy pussy, okay? So everywhere you go on Twitch now, it's just filled with furry dicks and rogues' tits and girls' boobs getting hit with a cartoon hammer on the screen for like donations or something. And it's just gotten completely wild. And the thing is, Twitch is a site that their TOS says that 13-year-olds can use the site, okay? They literally tell you that if you're 13, you can use the site. So there's a lot of risk with this, with them allowing this sort of content, just full on, just straight up porn on the site. And you can be 13 logged in and it just appears right there. You see right here, it says you can be 13 on the site. It's not like, oh, you have to sign up and be 18. There's some sort of like a filter or a paywall to prevent minors from buying stuff, at least, because it's harder, because you have to have a bank account, etc. But nothing. It's just furry schlong there, rogues, huge brown nipples there, furry dicks here. Like, I don't even want to remember the trauma I went through scrolling through the site, okay? So, you get the point. But, like, the only pop-up you get on the site on Twitch is this. I'm going to show you guys. So, for those of you who aren't familiar with the site, again, I have to be careful with what I show because YouTube TOS, but when you're scrolling through the site and you click just chatting, it's like if you were to click a video game. So let's say you clicked like League of Legends or you clicked Fortnite, right? And you get a preview, like 100 previews scrolling down of all of the streamers and their thumbnail, right? So you can see the thumbnail as soon as you click whatever game it is. Just chatting, where the girls are and the furry dicks are, is called just chatting. It's like if you click the game. So this is all you get. And this is me not logged in. Again, I don't have a Twitch account, incognito mode, and you will get this notification. And all you have to do is click, and I don't want to do it because I don't want to show you guys on screen. I do have a screen recording of me doing it for proof, but if you just click start watching after this notification that says Marina's content, so the person that's just displaying porn on rotation on their screen. By the way, the background or the foreground of that Marina person, by the way, I was shocked to see that this person, this one I'm talking about, I was shocked to see that that like when I opened the stream, a man's voice was coming out. That threw me for a surprise. But anyway, so you can click on their stream. You get the notification that says Marina's content is intended for certain audiences. It may contain significant profanity, vulgarity, sexual themes. This content may not be appropriate for you to watch. Start watching. And all you have to do is click the button and you're in. And then you get to see this. Okay? So you're 13 on Twitch. You're allowed to be on the site on Twitch. This is in the thumbnail when you're scrolling through, okay? You don't even have to click the stream. Just like if you click the game, the just chatting section, this is what pops up as you're scrolling down. Like, for example, let me give you guys another screenshot of what I'm talking about. So if you're just scrolling through, you'll see something like this. Twitch said they banned it from the homepage, but people were reporting seeing this on the homepage still after the fact. So yeah, you could just be scrolling through streams and it just pops up. And even if this weren't the case and they fixed it, so to speak, you can still see it as soon as you click any game, just chatting, whatever, and it's just in the thumbnail. So you have straight up porn in the thumbnails. Like, not, guys, not censored nipples, not like full on hairy pussy, huge furry dick, rogue's tits with huge brown areolas, like the whole shebang, like in the thumbnail. So like, my question is to Twitch, what is even the point of that disclaimer? What is the point of this stupid little pop-up? And I say this as someone who thinks that there should be more obstacles in the way of kids seeing this for many good reasons that I'll get into. But what's the point in this if you can see it in the thumbnail anyway before you click the stream? I literally don't understand Like, it's not like, oh, it makes you verify if you're 18 plus. You have to be logged into an 18 plus account, or like you have to pay for it. So there's a paywall and it makes it harder as a minor to access it. No, like it's just there. So what's the point of having the disclaimer if you can already see it in the thumbnail? And what's interesting is when you actually go through Twitch's TOS update on their website, what's interesting about this is they use the word consent, right? Keep in mind, I just showed you guys, you can be 13 and use Twitch, perfectly allowed, perfectly legal for them. And they use the word consent, and it says, okay, so CCL is classified content classification label. What that basically means is that it's not safe for work, and they apply a tag to it, right? But it's still able to pop up as a thumbnail on the page as you're scrolling, even when you're not logged in. Below 18 does not matter. You can be 13 years old, signed into your 13-year account. Twitch knows you're 13. Okay, they know you're a minor, and you're still able to access porn and see it right in your face, okay? And they're saying the viewer must provide explicit consent before they can start watching the stream. How is that explicit consent? How does that make it any better? At all. Like, oh, don't worry, guys. We need the child's consent that's signed into their 13-year-old minor account before they can watch the porn. Actually, that makes a huge difference. Did you know that? But it was actually okay when they were scrolling down the page and saw the porn anyway. Then the consent didn't matter, right? But apparently Twitch thinks minors can consent. That's what they think, because if you're on your 13-year-old account logged in, Twitch has confirmation that you told them you are a minor, and they're allowing you to watch that. How is that legal? How is that safe? And and you're telling me that there's not going to be a lot of children that come out of this ending up as porn addicts, and the consequences of that, and their unhealthy worldviews of how sex works, and forget about romance. Forget about seeing other people as human beings with feelings. They're going to become simps, addicted to paying for OnlyFans girls. Are they even going to keep banning OnlyFans links? Because they did that before on Twitch. They banned OnlyFans links. They said you're not allowed to link it. Now, what's the point? Are they going to allow it? Are we going to have some... And I understand people don't like when you use the word trafficking, but here's the thing. It doesn't make the word lose meaning. It's just a different type of trafficking. If you make content, for example, and I've talked about this before, YouTube has a problem with this too. There are girls who are on OnlyFans, have explicit OnlyFans. They're saying how great it is, how you should join. Here's their referral link. They get a cut of it if you join. So they have a financial incentive for you to sign up and sell pictures of your asshole, right? For people to gratify themselves to. And they're marketing that to kids. And OnlyFans has allowed people who are underage with fake IDs to bypass it. It's not even difficult. Like I think it was the BBC that did that proved that you can get away with it. So YouTube had that problem, and I'm sure they still do, but when I had spoken up on it, then they age restricted the video later on of the girls doing that. So that that's a form of trafficking. You're promoting sexual content to minors, telling them to go prostitute themselves. And the same thing goes for here. You're promoting sexual content, porn, straight up nipples, furry pussy, huge furry cock all over the screen. And kids are able to just scroll down and see that. They don't even have to click the consent button like they're trying to lie to you about. They can be logged into their 13-year-old account that says they are 13. They were born in the 2000s, okay? And they can just become addicts. And they could just watch full-on porn. And they try to put it under this guise of art. But intuitively, we all know the difference between art and a huge furry cock. You're telling me the ginormous furry dicks on the page that, oh, no, you don't get it. That's literally the same as a Greek statue. That's literally art. The difference between art and pornography is that pornography, for the most part, mainly has the one case use of people gratifying themselves sexually. That's the main objective of it. Versus art has many avenues and objectives, ways that it wants you to feel. different methods of doing that. It's not purely for the sexual content. I'm sorry, but Rogue's gigantic brown areolas on the screen is not a form of art. It's called porn. Just because you drew it doesn't make it automatically art. Okay, it's kind of like if you had someone, you know how there's OnlyFans girls where they have like a secondary job, but then nobody refers to them as their secondary job. They just refer to them as an OnlyFans girl. It's a similar concept. Like, if a girl is a lawyer, but then an OnlyFans girl too, or a girl's a doctor and OnlyFans girl too, most people, once they find out about the OnlyFans, they're going to refer to them as OnlyFans, right? Even though their other profession has nothing to do with the porn. But in this case, it does have to do with it, where the art directly does have to do with the porn, and it is used for that. That's the main case use, is for sexual gratification. That's the objective of the content. Even if you say, oh, well, like they had an okay design costume or something, if the main point is for sexual gratification, which you can tell it is if you see like naked anime girls on the screen making cum faces, you know, it doesn't take much common sense to realize that that's porn and not constituted as art, like intended by Twitch. Because that was the point of their rules, was, oh, well, we're making this change so that we could have artistic nudity. But that's not what happened. What happened was we have a form of sex trafficking potentially happening here, and encouraging kids to be addicted to porn. I don't know if you guys saw that interview. I didn't get to look into it much, but there was like an interview of like some porn site staff talking about how they want to get kids hooked. And it's not shocking. How many times was Pornhub sued over that sort of thing? Over having minors on their site filmed like non-consensually, like meaning like non-consensually either way, whether they say yes or no, but like it was just full on essay. And they are hosting on the site, didn't want to take it down. So many instances of this. This is a thing that happens. This is a form of trafficking. And there's different forms of trafficking. So just because one is different than the other, it doesn't take away from the others to call it what it is. And it has a lot of potential to get worse and turn into even more of the traditional term of what people are familiar with when you say trafficking. So, for example, I'm going to go through their site change here, what they changed to TOS. So this is under the section of what changes did they update. They used to prohibit this content, but it is now allowed on Twitch. Okay, you scroll down, it says changes to popular dances. Popular dances such as twerking, grinding, and pole dancing are now allowed without a label. Without a label. So you know what that means? I'm going to explain to you what that means. So not only can that be on the homepage because it doesn't have the CCL classification, whatever the fuck label, whatever bullshit label that they're talking about. But even with that label, again, it gets promoted as soon as you click the game and it's right there. You don't need to consent to anything and it's right there thrown in your face, even if you're a 13-year-old logged in or not logged in, incognito tab, requires zero effort. But even if you have, you have the label, that happens. But if you don't have the label, what that means is you can be promoted on the front page. So the landing page, when you go to twitch.tv, that means that girls twerking their asses on the screen, guys twirling, helicoptering their dicks with paint on it so it classifies as art, whatever, can be on the home screen potentially, depending on how explicit they are, right? So guys could be slapping their butt cheeks on Twitch's home screen. Like imagine you go on Twitch's home landing page and that's what you see, is like a guy dressed up as a furry twerking their ass into the screen. Because now it's without a label. It says it's allowed without one. And it says previously some dances were prohibited and others were allowed with a label. Enforcing dancing regardless of content means the policy prohibited twerking or at a wedding or taking a pole dancing exercise class, for example. The policy now takes the context into consideration. So that means you can do certain loopholes and then end up on the Twitch landing page, despite you literally shaking your ass into the camera, even if it's like something gross you don't want to see. But that's not where it ends. That's not even the worst part of this. So what I'm getting at for the trafficking thing is, remember, Twitch says a 13-year-old can use their site, meaning a 13-year-old on Twitch can stream on the site. You see where I'm going with this? So if a 13-year-old can stream on the site and twerking is promoted on the front page and allowed on the landing page, 2 + 2 = 4. I think you can figure out what's going to happen, what's going to be the meta, because it's technically not porn, right? Oh, it's not, even though it is. And we know that there's rules against CP, right? But on Twitch, I don't see anything about this. I've looked through it and I have yet to see anything out. You're going to see kids doing art, okay, on Twitch. That's what you're going to see. And that's something very important that I have not seen people speak up about, the implications of this. And it's already happening. Ice Spice's video had that 16-year-old twerking, like literally doing a sexual dance, and it was just allowed, okay? So this is already becoming a thing where hypersexuality is affecting kids, and now kids are being subject to very inappropriate behaviors and are being like monetized for things that are inappropriate and that they can't even comprehend on a mental level or understand what they're doing. So I don't know what Twitch is talking about. Oh, we do like a consent page for the kids. Like all they do is click OK. Kids can't consent in the first place. It doesn't matter how many times a kid goes, I want to watch porn. I want to watch porn. It doesn't matter. They're still a minor and they're not mentally capable of understanding the consequences of doing that or the implications of what that will mean in their future once they become addicted to that in their adolescence. And how many people are already currently suffering about that and speak up about that, and how it affected their inability to have intimate relationships with people. A lot of people have been really severely negatively affected by that. And a lot of these addicts stem from when they were kids and they got addicted to essentially what is a drug, porn. And they get defensive just like any other addict. A lot of things, almost anything could be an addiction, but I really do see a lot of overlap with porn and like other familiar addicts, so like gambling addicts, drug addicts, things like that. So this is really concerning to me that their TOS says that a 13-year-old can stream on their site, a 13-year-old can use their site, and they're also allowing porn on their site. They're allowing full-on nudity in terms of art, in terms of body painting art, right? They're allowing full-on drawn porn. You know, you had that one trans person or whatever literally rotating through various porn. Okay, I have it censored here, but when you click the stream, the photos were rotating through like different images, like literally just spamming it in the person's face. This is straight up like psychological warfare, and against children at that, because Twitch is a site that kids use. When you actually look up the data for how many kids use Twitch, the last time I looked it up, I think it was something like 65%. Let me see. Okay, this is the demographic as of 2023, it says. But they have it like per year. They have prior years too if you want to look it up. The point is, a large percent of people are underage on Twitch. Like that's a given. That's a fact. Regardless of whatever source you're looking at for the actual statistics of Twitch users. It's at least half the users are minors. Yeah, I'm trying to find it. I don't have it offhand right now, but I know I've brought it up before. And then 65% of Twitch users are men, it's saying. It's like, yeah, well, clearly you know your demographic. And they know that. And I think that, and here's what I think. I think Twitch is intentionally doing this. I do. Because tell me how in the same week, Twitch closed off the Korean servers. Okay, because they're losing money, because they're not profitable. So they closed the Korean servers because they're losing money. So how do they make money, guys? Oh, well, we know kids are at home. Pedals, please. We know kids are at home watching. We know kids have a lot of time to sit on the computer, get addicted to something and watch. And we know they'll watch the ads. We know that maybe they'll borrow money to try to buy some bits and give it to the guy pretending to be a woman behind a VTuber avatar with their tits out, just cut off right before the areola. And they know that it's going to generate money. So that's really what it is. At the end of the day, it circles back to them making money. And they know that they're bleeding money. Twitch is not profitable. So this is their way of compensating for them not being profitable. They know to be profitable, at least with how they operate, they feel like they need this like pornographic content because sex sells, right? Sometimes for a low price, but in general, sex sells. So, it's really funny how in the same week that Korea shut down, they suddenly allow porn on their site, even though their registration is 13 minors on their site. And there really is no consent, and kids can't consent to that in the first place. Oh, by the way, in case you're curious, Twitch rejected my appeal when I appealed for the ban. I think it was like a month or so ago. So like I can't be allowed on this site, but you know what can? Huge furry cock. Go figure. So it's really interesting who and what they will allow on the site, and I think it's very much intentional. And I won't be surprised when I see the next meta is kids doing art. I want to see you guys hold this ground for everyone calling that shit art, for calling Rogue's brown areolas thrown him on the screen in my fucking face on Twitch when I'm scrolling through the just chatting section. Why the fuck is it called the just chatting section? They're not just chatting, okay? I want to see you guys hold that same energy. The people who are defending this and calling it art. I want you to hold that energy when you see the kids on Twitch doing the same art. And then tell me how it's not trafficking. Tell me how it won't be trafficking. Because it will be really interesting when they stop holding those positions about it being art, when it's inherently pornographic. Now, are there forms of art that involve being naked? Of course there are. And that wouldn't mean like, oh, a kid can therefore be naked. But I'm talking about this specific kind where it is clearly not art. It is clearly intended to be pornographic. That is the main case use of it. That is the primary objective of it, is to be consumed in that way. And yet they're trying to say, oh no, actually it's art. It's the same as going to a museum. Don't you see? You just walk into museums with your dick out and jerk off, right? Right? So I'm not looking forward to seeing kids doing art on Twitch with these new rules. And it's already bad enough as it is. Even if it didn't escalate to that point, it's already bad enough as it is that they think that kids can consent. Like, how sickening is that? You think a kid can consent to a porn addiction? You think a kid can consent to people having sex on the screen? Like, how that affects their brain? They can't. They even adults get addicted to that, and you're going to give that to kids? And it's really concerning, and it's really frustrating to see. And it's frustrating. What's even more aggravating, actually, by the way, I'll get to the super chats in a bit. What's even more aggravating to me are the people who are arguing for this, okay? The people who are arguing for, it's almost like they have a kids should watch porn position, which is so beyond fucked. How can you have a I want kids to watch pornography, basically what is prostitution on the screen position? How can you hold that position? Like, first off, children have rights, human rights, to not be violated like that. They have the right to innocence. Additionally, you know who else has that position? You know who else wants kids to watch porn? I'll give you guys a second to think about that. Who tends to want to expose kids to sexual content so that it's normalized to them and expose them to it so that they don't have a reaction? Groomers, that's right. So, we really have to question where people are coming from when they have the pro kids should watch porn position. Okay, because a lot of predators sure love having that position. And it's with good reason in terms of them trying to accomplish their goals, which is what I'm speaking out against. But they literally, if you look up stories about groomers, oftentimes how they get minors online to do these sexual acts, send them photos, and even meet up with them in person is because it's like a boiling frog. They slowly introduce the concepts of sexuality to them. And you hear these stories and it's always the predator, they first, say a sexual word, or they send them a sexual picture, or they ask the minor to send them a sexual picture, even though they're not mentally capable of knowing what they're doing, and completely ruining their innocence and my cats are playing, and making them have to go through potential years of therapy. And in some cases, it's irreparable damage. So you basically have them as the frog in the boiling pot, and the kids are slowly being boiled. That's how kids become victims of these crimes, of SA, of being exposed by predators. They are introduced through pornographic means a lot of the time. They're sent pornographic content, and then they're like, oh, did you touch yourself to that? Tell me how many stories are out there like that. Anybody who has listened to these sort of stories of like how like To Catch a Predator type of thing, there's a YouTube channel out there that's popular now that basically does what Chris Hansen does too. And when you listen to the stories, they expose the children to porn to normalize it to them so that they agree to doing these things, even though it doesn't matter if they agree. It wouldn't be consensual anyway, because they mentally are not able to do that. But still, that's how they get them to go along with it and not question it. It's manipulation. So with that said, I think it's pretty apparent why this is a concern, that Twitch is having porn on the site. Okay, people are straight up doing marathons of porn anime, of hentai on Twitch now. And there are kids on the site. It's not just like, oh, the kids, they found a way to like skirt around the rules. No, Twitch, it explicitly allows 13-year-olds. It literally says it in legal writing that 13-year-olds can be on there. And it's perfectly fine. They can stream on there, and they can stream their art. And even if it's the parents' responsibility, obviously parents should monitor their kids, but that doesn't give Twitch a pass to do that, to essentially enable what is / going to be sex trafficking. That doesn't mean that, it's the parents' fault. Like, I don't know, this logic, it's like, oh, if you get an illness, where was your doctor? Like, why would you not hold Twitch accountable? Why would you bootlick for Twitch? What have they done for you? What have they done for anybody except for expose kids to gay, transgender porn, furry porn? What the fuck has Twitch done for anyone? They like ban all the good streamers, including myself. They literally promote degeneracy to your kids, and you're out here like slop. Twitch is asshole. Why don't the parents do something about it? The parents are at fault. Twitch literally is a gateway drug. It is a gateway drug to porn. They're like putting them down the funnel, putting them down the canal into porn, into inappropriate content, into addictions. And you guys are like, but what about the parents? Hello? Why are you what benefit do you get licking Twitch's ass? Please tell me. Who are they paying you? Are they paying you to lick their ass? Then you should probably stop, because girls get paid on OnlyFans for that. And you're doing it for free. The people who are like, it's the parents' fault, would say that if Google started putting porn on the homepage. Yeah, exactly. Oh my god, Petals is literally, I wish I could turn the camera. She's literally meowing at the air right now. Like, I'm getting heated right now. What is it called? The pipeline. Twitch is the porn pipeline now for kids. Porn pipeline for kids, as if it wasn't before. It already was, but it's worse now. Now it's just straight up porn in the thumbnails. There's no age filter. There's nothing. That tag, the classification tag, bullshit. Porn is right on the thumbnail. Girls twerking can be on the homepage. Yeah, the Twitch to porn pipeline. Coomer World Order. And it was already bad enough as it was. You know, you had like all of these streamers that were like porn VTubers using the same exact avatar and costume that they would use on their like porn sites and then go on Twitch with the same name and everything. One of them accidentally left a dildo on the bed before they went live. And like, hold on one second. Okay. It was already bad before because Twitch already had people on there that would basically do the same thing that they would do on their Chatterbait websites. Same avatar, same anime avatar, same costume, same everything, same name, and go on Twitch. So what happens? Okay, the kid wants to see the Twitch streamer, right? So they go and they type their name in Google, and guess what pops up? The porn. Same thing with the porn stars. Oh, they're streaming on Twitch. Guess what happens when they type their name onto Google? Oh, their porn pops up. And it's not just like, oh, like one nude was accidentally there against their will or something like that. No, like these are full-on porn stars. They're basically paid prostitutes to go on camera, right? You have a camera. That's the difference. So basically, they already had the pipeline. They already had the Twitch to porn pipeline as it was, with having porn stars on there with the same name, having VTubers on there that did porn off-site with the same name, having their porn stuff linked on their socials that were linked on Twitch. But now it's just more outright. And actually, I want to bring up YouTube's issue too. But I've already talked about this. That's why I don't immediately bring it up. YouTube has some issues in the same vein where they have like nude yoga where it's like that it's completely unnecessary. It's pretty clearly pornographic. Why is that on the site? And like I talked about earlier with the OnlyFans girl sex trafficking kids into joining OnlyFans, like just putting it, and I say kids because you have it like non-age restricted and you have your referral link right there and talking about how great OnlyFans is. You're literally grooming kids. So kids on Twitch are 100% going to get groomed. 100%. And guess, and before you say no, before you say I'm just overreacting, let me ask you this. Who do you think is in the chats? Who do you think are in the porn chats, are in these chats with the pornography and the thumbnails? Who do you think are in the chats? Predators waiting for kids to get funneled in through the Twitch to porn pipeline. They're waiting for the kids there. You think that they don't know the kids are going to be there, guys? You think they're not sitting there waiting? You already have like Roblox grooming discords, and you think that these predators aren't going to jump on the opportunity because they know kids are underdeveloped. They know that they see boobs and they don't understand it fully and they're curious about it and they're new to it. They know they're going to click it. They know they're going to be there or whatever, like furry dick, whatever type of porn. Petals, you are so psychotic. Hold on. Petals, please. I'm like getting dry now because I'm so annoyed by this. And I don't even have any water in here. It's really annoying. I drank a whole bottle of water as I was ranting. There's also one gay guy who spreads his asshole on YouTube for education, showing how to wax your butthole. Yeah, exactly. There's problems on YouTube too, but it's just more blatant and in your face on Twitch, and people are just now noticing it. There were already problems with this. Yeah, Petals is very dramatic, if you couldn't tell. Yeah, she does have a lot to say. She's also upset about this, okay? She's also very upset. One sec. Oh, I'm the Marvel villain for speaking up on this? Please. But yeah, you know the predators are going to be in the chats waiting for the kids to get funneled in. You know they're going to... Who do you think is watching, like, cartoons, like, pornographic-looking cartoons? Sure, some men watch it. But you know who else that attracts? You know who bright colors and cartoons attract? It attracts children. And it's in the thumbnail as they're scrolling. There's no consent involved in that. It's literally, it's like, it's grape. Like, it's forcibly thrown in their face. They don't really get a choice in it. Minors aren't really getting a choice in looking at it, whether they're logged in or not. There really isn't a choice whatsoever. They can't consent anyway, but there still isn't a choice. And then their psychology is being abused. They see huge anime cartoon boobies with bright red hair. Like, you think that the kids aren't going to click that? They don't know better. Even with good parenting, they may not know better. You can't just blame the parents for this. When they're literally psychologically abusing kids to, like, do you understand what I'm saying? Like, they are using the psychology of kids against them. In the same way that some OnlyFans girls will be really manipulative in the way that they do it. Obviously, there's accountability on a lot of the guys who purchase it. Something like 98% of the user base is non-OnlyFans people. It's like guys buying it or whatever. I saw some statistic when I was scrolling through Twitter today. And obviously, common sense, like, there's more creators than there are. I mean, there's more paying customers than there are creators on OnlyFans, right? It's common sense. But just like how some OnlyFans girls and guys will maybe manipulate, it's just that women are maybe naturally better at, like, emotional manipulation because they're more emotionally aware in some aspects, generally speaking. And a lot of people will manipulate the customer because they know how to get money out of them using their sexuality. And women are going to be the prime ones for that because that's how that's like the easiest way to manipulate most men is through their sexuality. And the same kind of goes for kids, where you're using bright colors, you're using cartoon looking figures, and you're using sexuality, something they're new to. And it's right there as they're scrolling. There's no screen on it, nothing. And you're telling me that's not on Twitch? Like, that's psychological warfare against the kids. How are they supposed to know better? How would you as a kid know better? Like, even if your parents said no, like, and the parents are at fault when they think Twitch is like a site for Fortnite. Like, I understand there's multiple things on there. There's like art. There's art. There's like a lot of things on Twitch, like cooking in different categories. But a lot of people, like especially normal people, normies, they're not going to know that. They're going to think that, like, it shouldn't be that you're a kid and you're watching some Fortnite and you could accidentally click on some porn. It should not be that way. Why are they in the same category? Why are they together? Why is it that Twitch is allowing pornography when they allow 13-year-olds on their site and you could accidentally click onto it? Like, and it's in the recommended. Like, if you go on their site and you look through, opening it up here. If you look through their thing, it says that it can be in the recommended. Where is that? Suggested. That was the word they used. Suggested content. Basically, they'll recommend it on the tab. I've read the word they use, but it said it on here when I was going through it before the stream. And because twerking, as I mentioned earlier, because it doesn't have the tag on, even though it's sexual in nature, twerking is sexual. It originated from sexual means. It originated in, like, New Orleans at, like, some club, like, where adults go and do things, you know, adult things. Like, it inherently, in its origins, was sexual. So, yes, twerking is sexual. And they're allowing that without the label, so it's going to be recommended. Like, literally, Twitch is recommending porn to kids. Do you understand? They're recommending lewd content, inappropriate content, sexual content to kids. And even in, I don't know if you guys, okay, so when I was younger and I went to the mall, there was, like, Hot Topic or, like, I don't know, like, various stores, whatever stores. And, like, there would be a section of it that's, like, public. And then there would be, like, a small 18 plus section. I think I even saw this one at, like, Urban Outfitters. And even in these type of stores, usually there's some sort of, like, screen or, like, you need an ID to get past this point or something like that. And Twitch doesn't even have that. They're not even trying. It's pretty blatant. It's as blatant as the Pornhub thing, which I'm going to play in a second. Like, imagine you're 13 years old and you're watching Ninja, and it's just like, for you, and some girl shaking her ass, or like some guy shaking his hairy butt cheeks into the screen with like a thong on, so it's technically art with like some paint on it. It's so dystopian. I see some girl's boobs getting hit with a mallet for money. They're quite literally exchanging sexual favors for money in front of children. And we're just like, no, it's art though. It's art though. It's clearly not. If that were the case, we wouldn't have prostitution laws in the first place. You call that art too while you're at it. Cope all you want. I want to pull up a tweet that my wonderful significant other made about this, and he pretty much sums it up here. No government agency or anything is going to prosecute Twitch over this. This is this pornography on the website that is primarily marketed to minors. These girls are trading sexual favors for money on Twitch in front of children, and nobody from the government is going to maybe file criminal charges or do anything about this. And that basically is what's going on. Twerking is allowed, right? So what's stopping you from trading subs for twerking? Porn drawn is allowed. You can have your boobs out and just cut off the nipples and have everything bare, implied nudity. 13 on the site signed up with age confirmed that you're 13. You can view that. You can view it without clicking it. You can view it on accident scrolling through Twitch. You can literally accidentally see girls doing sexual favors for money on Twitch, and they're doing it in front of kids, and it's like official. Like, Twitch officiates this. Like, I'm sorry, exchanging sexual favors for money is not art. It's not. My throat's hurting. My throat is hurting from this. Okay, I'm going to pull up the Pornhub thing I'm talking about. I didn't get to sit down and watch this yet, but I saw a clip of it. Yeah, but it's, for me, I already knew this. I already did research on this before. From, who brought this to my attention was Lila McHale-Waite. She's an anti-trafficking advocate, like advocates against it, and she has a Twitter, and she posts stuff all the time about Pornhub and the lawsuits against Pornhub for taking advantage of minors.
Taking the same approach in that they're the biggest.
Okay, here we go.
They're the biggest. They're everywhere. So they need to appeal to every single niche. And I think they've done a lot to explore kind of every mainstream thing. So what they need to do now is to try to push stuff that's more less accepted. Like
sounds manipulative, doesn't it?
Putting a trans male or trans female in a scene.
Oh, there's an echo? Hold on.
You wouldn't get that on,
here it is. I got it.
Mainstream.
Okay, sorry about that. Thank you for telling me.
Thing. So what they need to do now is they need to try to push stuff that's more less accepted. Like,
look at this limp wrist motherfucker.
Putting a trans male or a trans female in a scene, you wouldn't get that on a normal mainstream site. So test it out. See if you get a bigger audience with it. See if you can convert somebody, right? Like, maybe somebody who's never looked for anything like that might find it interesting and click on it.
Guys,
he looks like he smells like bacon.
I'm gonna cut straight to the chase here. Smut peddlers are actively trying to turn you gay and or trans. I think it's really interesting to look at how societal attitudes toward, let's just say, adult content for now have changed over the decades. Obviously, back in the day, any material depicting intimacy was very, very demonized, and everything surrounding that was kept very hush-hush. But then you kind of fast forward to the 90s and 2000s, and I think especially with the explosion of the internet, frankly, adult material just being so easily learning and going to be discussing today of the people who are also consuming that content. I am talking about you, the viewer. You see, we have this pretty shocking video compilation that we're going to be going through. It's kind of done Project Veritas style.
On Michael No's channel, he interviewed the girl who was asking the questions. Oh, really? So it was from this place, Sound Investigations. Pornhub AO employee ALO employee. Kids will find their kink on ALO porn site. ALO writer, 12-year-olds watching trans angels porn probably helps a lot. Need to push stuff that's less accepted. Get more men, straight men into gay trans porn too. You sick fucks. Nasty. I'm glad they're being put on blast.
Have to do.
I'm gonna go to the Michael Knowles thing in a second too.
I mean, sounds like my age.
What do you?
So also openly discuss it.
I think it was like 11 years old is the average age kids are now viewing.
And they're like, and that's a good thing. 11 is the average age for a kid to get addicted to something that could ruin their entire intimate life in their future, in their adulthood. Isn't that great?
What do you think about
They're just like, oh, you know, like, we need to get more of them hooked on it. Watch, I'm telling you.
I mean, sounds like my age.
He's like, oh, it's okay because I did it.
So, yeah. I mean, it makes sense. You know?
I can't, let me just say really quick, I can't believe this journalist got, like, you just got, like, this is what I'm talking about when I say, like, men are manipulated by sex the easiest. Just remember me saying that earlier. This is what I'm talking about.
Definitely associated with humor.
Right. Like it's natural.
Yeah, exactly. But that's the thing, is that a lot of those religious groups can tell you it's not. And that's wrong.
How easy is it for like an underage person to view the site?
Just go to the site.
To get on.
Fully aware. Just go on the site. He almost said it to her like, you stupid bitch. Don't you know kids could just easily watch porn? Duh.
What do you have to do?
Duh.
Not much. Probably not much, yeah.
Do you think that kids go on like that?
Do I think they go on there?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think they still go on there for sure.
All you have to do is like what? Probably check a box or something to.
I think so, yeah. I'd probably just ask you, are you 18 years old? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think they've done like too much
Basically Twitch right now.
on that.
We have more to talk about, unfortunately, when it comes to these shocking clips. But first, I do want to let you all know of a sale that.
No. You will not know about the sale.
Female presenting targeted. You also try to see how much you can take of that and bring it to mainstream vanilla content, right? Because like Brazzers and Reality Kings is predominantly for straight men, but you try to like push the envelope as much as you can. Be like, okay, can I hint at like bi content here? Can I like,
They're literally, remember what I said earlier about psychological abuse? This is what I'm talking about. This is like their version of it for adults as well, though. It's like, oh, you know, boil the frog slowly.
like talk more about like, what if we brought a trans talent onto the site, and you kind of like take those risks to try and broaden it a little bit more, even though you know that you have a site dedicated to that, right? Like you're always trying to push it a little further.
Yeah, make everything hypersexual so that they can make money and everyone else suffers for it, right?
Brazzers is taking the same approach in that they're the biggest, they're everywhere, so they need to appeal to every single niche. And I think they've done a lot to explore kind of every mainstream thing. So what they need to do now is they need to try to push stuff that's less accepted. Like putting a trans male or a trans female in a scene, you wouldn't get that on a normal mainstream site. So test it out. See if you get a bigger audience with it. See if you can convert some.
You know what this reminds me of? Reminds me of marketers. Like that real soulless approach where they speak as if it's just another day, as if it's normal to get kids addicted to life ruining things that will potentially scar them and they'll have to go to therapy for, and have a hard time looking at women as humans, or just viewing prostitution as like a good or normal thing, or developing really messed up kinks like, you know, peeing and furries and like pooping on each other. Like, I don't even want to go further into it, but you get where I'm going with this. There are some really messed up kinks that goes all the way down to baby paraphernalia, and then people start associating sexually that, you know, when they, you know, kids are using that and they associate that with being sexual. So you get where I'm going with this. And you can lead kids all the way down that pipeline. And they just talk about it like it's another day. Like, oh yeah, you know, You could just like do that.
Somebody, right? Like
So
maybe somebody
nonchalant.
who's never looked for anything like that might find it interesting and click on it.
Yeah, look how
same thing
easy
for bi
it
stuff,
is.
same thing for gay. But bi stuff is usually marketed towards women, but they also want to try to get more men, straight men in on it.
He's
too.
like, look how much I know
Or
about
bi-curious
it.
men.
Aren't I so
Because
smart?
the thing about Trans Angels, which is a site, it's female presenting trans women, and like they sell that to straight men. Like that's the demographic. So I think
I can't. His limp wrist makes me want to throw up. Like, literally, just like so limp.
the next big step would be trying to do something that's kind of counterculture. Maybe doing like a trans man in a scene, like having a guy, male presenting trans man with a and see how that does.
No, yeah, you just see how that does. You just see someone's man pussy get busted open. Just see how that does with the kids, you know? Is that what's art nowadays? Is that what we're calling normal? Is that what we're promoting? We're like, oh no, it's fine. I did it at my age. Maybe you shouldn't have done it at your age. You ever think of that? Oh my goodness. That German study that showed when they watched porn, women wearing boots, eventually guys got hard looking at the boots. Yeah, I saw that. And what's interesting, it's one of those things because it's psychological where even though it's an older study, it's still relevant. I've looked at that one. And it's what I'm getting at when I'm talking about the child paraphernalia and kids and men, for example, developing fetishes toward that. And then, you know, you have grown people who are getting sexually excited at the thought of like diapers and binkies and such. And that's not exactly safe. That's not exactly good. Like you're not putting them down a great road. That's not going to end well.
Because we'll see how people react to it differently. But like it's a
People
lot of
need
experimenting and seeing what hits and what doesn't.
Here's the
Lifelong customers, the kids.
Michael Knowles touched on this video, and he even had this journalist, Arden Young, on his show to discuss it. He did a
here we go.
great job shining a light on all of this. Once the story started getting traction, which is a good thing, it absolutely should, the mainstream media wasted no time trying to make Michael Knowles look like some crazy conspiracy theorist for, essentially saying that, oh, Pornhub is trying to turn you gay. We have a headline from The Advocate. Pornhub makes you gay, says Daily Wire's Michael Knowles. And Indy 100, conservative pundit claims Pornhub is trying to turn straight men gay. And obviously all of these articles basically laughed at that assertion, with The Advocate specifically saying that, quote, sexual orientation and gender identity are innate aspects of a person's identity. Decades of scientific research and psychological understanding have led to a consensus among experts that these traits are not choices or preferences that external influences, such as media or pornography, can alter. The assertion that someone can
Okay, but then how would you know about it? Like, they're being introduced to it. It's not even just being introduced, it's being, like, forcibly introduced to people, to children who can't even consent to it in the first place. You don't just randomly want to get pissed on in a furry suit, okay?
scenes
Damn.
might affect children.
Do you think some like lonely, repressed 12-year-olds are going on Trans Angels and
Yeah,
learning?
I think so.
These people need to be thrown in jail. This limp wrist. I have to be careful what I send on YouTube. This limp wrist, bacon grease, smelly looking dipshit needs to go to jail. These people need to not be in the public. They're literally committing psychological warfare against children. They need to be in jail.
I mean, like, think about it. Let's say you're 12 years old. You're still figuring out your sexuality, maybe even your gender. Wouldn't it be helpful to see, not a celebration, but just like maybe a normalization of something that you think is what you want, you know? Probably helps a lot.
I think what would help a lot is him playing on the highway. That's what I think would help me a lot. Help me sleep better at night, knowing that kids would be safer.
Yeah. I think it
She's
your
speechless!
sexual attitude, like even if you find out you're not, that's not
Even she couldn't hold her composure after that. She was like, what did I get myself into?
what you prefer.
Yeah, that's an amazing point. Because, like, if, let's say I was 12 and I saw, like, Trans Angels, I saw all these different sites, it would help me figure out what I do like and what I don't like. Because
Yeah, because you know who needs to know that? 13-year-olds.
if you're
Apparently.
exposed to nothing, you have no idea.
Oh my, this dense motherfucker. This dense motherfucker. Oh, it's almost like you shouldn't know as a kid. Maybe you should find out through healthy, normal means and not through porn being thrown in your face. Literally scrolling on Twitch, just clicked off of Fortnite, thrown in your face as a child.
And maybe you're more like pliable.
It's not like you can get that through normal experiences or something.
Pretty much.
Do you think like your work might be helping LGBTQ kids like find themselves?
I mean, yeah, I'm sure.
She was different.
Sure. I mean, if everyone, like, you know, it shouldn't just be heterosexual people that have points.
Some LGBTQ kids who just are so confused.
Of course.
I love this journalist right now. She's so fucking funny. You know, just like the LGBT kids who are like underage on your site, like they're just so confused. She like, how do you just walk right into that? I love how much she played up the bimbo aspect of that statement. Like just so, yeah, you know, they just like need that, right? And then they were like, yeah.
No, it's true.
And lonely and like
She's so bimbo. I have to see
No,
her.
Of course. Yeah, and it's not right for them to feel that way.
do you think men.com is a good resource for them?
And I'm sure, yeah.
How did he not catch on? That's literally like an interview journalist question.
I mean, they'll find your kink in there, I'm sure.
Guys, men in the chat. This you right now. You guys fall for it this easily? This easily? This blatant?
And I'm sure, yeah.
Oh
I
man.
mean, they'll find their kink in there, I'm sure. It's got some educational aspects to it, so there's
Yeah,
that.
there's so many
I mean,
Reminds me
especially
of that
with
Shiwan
boys.
had video about like the she did a video on like girl Riz versus guy Riz, and the girls hit on the guys and the guys hit on girls, and she rated like which one had more Riz, and all the girls had to do was like breathe in the guy's direction. They were just like spaghettied onto them, like, whoa, take me. But like the guys were really cringing in their approach for the most part. The girls, they're like, hey, yo, baby girl, let me serenade you. Whoa. And then the girl has to awkwardly sit there like, That's what that reminds me of. Like how easily
There's
yeah,
that.
there's
he
so
fell
many
for this. Limp wrist.
I mean, especially with boys.
I know
Take
speaking
me,
out
my
against
limp
the porn
wrist.
industry doesn't make people very popular because, I mean, let's
So
just
true,
face it,
Lauren.
a lot of people love to watch porn.
Because that's what addicts do. They get defensive. So true, Lauren. I want to look up the Michael Knowles one. Michael Knowles, is it like public? What do I even type for the video? Is it his newest one, maybe? Oh, I see it. I think I see it. Yeah.
Let's say you're
Okay. I want to get to the interview.
What you've uncovered, because some of us have suspected that Pornhub and its parent
Oh, she has like a cute youthful
company,
face. You know,
formerly called
you know
MindGeek,
why.
now it's called Activities for a while. Here it is in their own
Yes,
words.
Pornhub is MindGeek. They have
Let's say
different
you're
companies.
12 years old, you're still figuring out your sexuality, maybe even your gender.
Jail.
Wouldn't it be helpful
Jail.
to see
Drop
not a
the
celebration.
soap. I want him to drop the soap. That's what I want. No, I'm gonna move my camera so you can look at this fucker. I want him to drop the soap.
just like maybe a normalization?
So that, you know, the person in prison can, you know, learn about their sexuality. You should drop the soap so that they can learn about their sexuality in prison with you alone. That's what you should do.
Of something that you think is what you want, you know, probably helps a lot. Let's say I was 12 and I saw like trans angels, I saw all these different sites. It would help
Speaking of dropping the soap, readstreetsoap.shop.
me figure out what I do like and what I don't like.
You can drop that soap.
Try to push stuff that's more less accepted. Like putting a trans male or a trans female in a scene, you wouldn't get that.
That's just the biggest pornographers on the planet. Two major discoveries here. One, they
you probably
know
like
that
it, you're
kids
right.
are looking at their content. They're totally fine with it. It obviously helps their business model. We all knew that. It's crazy to hear it in their own words. We all knew that. The second discovery, to me, is the most shocking. Senior scriptwriter here at the biggest porn company on earth saying, yeah, we're trying to convert straight guys into looking at gay porn or trans porn. We're always trying to
I just want to hear her speak in the bimbo voice.
I know. I mean, I was sitting across from him. That was probably one of the last things I was expecting him to say.
Art and Young, they saw her and they were more like, hard and young.
My instincts were to just ask him about the kinds of things they were marketing to people, because I knew he does primarily work.
She was like,
on
I'm definitely
gay
not a
trans pornography
journalist.
sites.
Anyway, should you go on men.com?
What he writes. And he was very, very open. He was very matter of fact. And in fact, he, like you saw, he even viewed kids viewing porn as a positive thing.
So you're conducting this interview. This guy obviously has no idea what's going on.
She's such a hero for this.
But you'd think if you were working for so degenerate a company and you were engaged in such, even today, frowned upon kinds of behaviors, you might play it a little closer to the vest, right? He didn't, though. Did it take much prodding, or was he just open about this?
He was extremely open about this, and this, we're talking about Dylan in particular, the senior script writer for ALO. He was extremely open, extremely obliging, did not think my questions were strange or out of place at all. And it goes to show you kind of the mindset these employees of this company are in. Porn in all of its forms
Tree Raid? Oh,
are
hi,
so
Tree.
normalized
Welcome,
to them, and they're
guys.
so callous to something as
taters are
serious as a
here.
child being able to view pornography.
But of course, we all know, and in fact, in one of your interviews, you mentioned that
I like
the
watching
median
Tree
age of
streams.
exposure
It's a fun
to
stream.
pornography now for kids is something like 11.
Just Tree
Frankly, I'm surprised
411.
it's that high. I would even suspect
She
it
had a
might
lot
be
of
lower.
manosphere
Maybe today
content.
it is lower. We all know that kids are accessing porn, and that's how the porn companies
Yeah, and they're doing it on Twitch.
cultivate and groom their
I want to see
future
the
crop
political
of customers,
commentators
'cause
talk
kids'
about
brains are
that.
very,
Can
very
you
malleable
all
if they
talk
get-
about Twitch, please? And like the implications of 13-year-olds potentially twerking on the site because their site literally allows 13-year-olds. Also, by the way, something I forgot to mention. So to be a partner on Twitch, you can be underage and be a partner as well. Food for thought. You need apparently guardian permission, but to do the partnership aspect. But obviously you can make money without the partnership, number one. And number two, you could just be a kid with a bad upbringing who wants attention. Number three, as we've seen in Hollywood, parents sometimes have no quarrels about pimping out their kids. So, 13-year-olds can be partnered on Twitch, and you can twerk on Twitch, and you can do nude art on Twitch, and you can be nude if it's artistic with paint on you. So, put 2 and 2 together, get 4.
Get addicted to this stuff. When
Sounds
you're
like
10 or 11.
trafficking potential to me. Putting kids through the funnel, through the Twitch to porn pipeline, sounds awfully a lot like trafficking, exposing kids to inappropriate content, just like how groomers do. You mean just like how groomers do to try to get kids to do inappropriate things and benefit from it?
11 years old, they're going to stick with it for a very long time, most likely. Again, it's horrifying. They should be prosecuted for it. It's just evil. It's great to hear them admit it. The thing that is so shocking to me, I guess, is that we have been told for my entire life by the left, by the pro-pornography people, by the sexual
Is
revolutionists,
he Jewish?
that sexual desire
He looks Jewish.
is innate and
I don't
immutable.
really watch this
It's an
guy.
orientation. Nobody becomes gay, bisexual, trans. It's not that you're born
Like
that
genetically,
way.
is he Jewish,
And how
I mean.
dare you suggest? We'll probably be kicked
Not
off
like
of
the
social media
religion,
for
but like
even
ethnically.
for even repeating what this top porn employee who writes the
Italian,
stuff. He knows
that
what he's talking
explains
about.
it.
But
That's
he is
right.
a
That's right, guys. Italians are not Jews, right? You're right. You're right.
admitting on camera, we'll probably be kicked off even for repeating it. But what he is saying is, yeah, nah, that's all bunk. Yeah, actually, yeah, you can convert people. That's how our business.
Hold on. I'm sorry. I need to play the clip. I feel like some people don't get it. See, this is the way you get me uppity, is talking about children human rights issues. That's when I get uppity and start chimping out. Okay, this is the clip.
Yeah? We love this pilot.
Oh my God. I felt like Hitler just then.
What?
It was a joke. I just said I felt like Hitler. What? Nobody here's Jewish, right?
Gee, I don't know. Are you Jewish, Gordon? Gee, I don't know, Jeremy. Are you?
So then, I'm trying not to copy.
I had no idea. I'm sorry.
Hey, Brian, we're both Italian. You're...
Yeah. So then at the end, it goes like this. Sorry, I don't want to get copy struck.
Italians are not just...
Yeah, so back to Michael Knowles, who is Italian, not
This model
Jewish.
works. You got to slip in this weirder stuff. So you take a guy who's been straight his whole life, who's never entertained any other kind of thought, and then you try to get him. Well, actually,
You could be an
went
Italian
even
Jew. You
in greater
could.
depth with him. Let's play that clip.
The thing is like when you write for like Sean Cody, which is like primarily gay targeted, when you write for Trans Angels, which is trans female presenting targeted, you also try to see how much you can take of that and bring it to mainstream vanilla content, right? Because like Brazzers and Reality Kings is predominantly for...
Hey,
see what she
hey,
says to
social
that.
media companies, don't
We saw
take me
that
off for
already.
saying that. That's with the senior writer at MindGeek, the guy who writes all of this porn. He is saying, we are trying to take straight guys. Our
Wow, so he is really high
target
ranking
demo
too.
is converting straight guys into trans guys.
Yeah,
So imagine what that does to kids who literally do not know their sexuality.
and you know, I think
Imagine.
he meant convert in the marketing sense, which doesn't really make it any better.
Well, it's the same sense. And yes, there's a whole conversation to be had about the business model and capitalism. But when we're talking about a product that involves, at a very deep level, your own desires and your own identity, then when you convert people to the product, you're converting them in their desire and their identity.
Exactly. And I think they're completely motivated by profits. They just want to make a wider variety.
I'm just saying, do you guys think that like these kids grow up into men, right? Like the little boys who get addicted, right? Girls do too, but again, back to my comment earlier about men being manipulated the easiest through sex. So you have these little boys who grow up into men, addicted to porn, and you're telling me that it's just coincidental that they want to be pussy free with their dicks in a cage? And for a woman to degrade them and humiliate them and call them a limp wrist, pussy-free loser? Like, do you guys think that naturally happens? Or possibly, potentially, it's because of the content they watched growing up? Or the content that's constantly thrown in their face? Just a thought to put out there. Do you guys really think that they naturally just wanted to put their... out of nowhere, just like how the girls, do you think they just out of nowhere naturally for no reason wanted to open OnlyFans the day they turned 18? That's pretty crazy. That's pretty crazy to me for that to just magically happen out of nowhere. Ooh, out of nowhere. It's mysterious. It's so elusive. Who would ever figure out why that is? It's almost like you're influenced by the content you watch. It's almost like we have influencers and content that they make influences you. Whoa,
Content,
crazy.
More palatable and
Let me pull up a study for that real quick.
profitable to the single viewer.
I need a study for that one. Whoa.
And going back to children accessing pornography, we're seeing more and more ID laws passed in the U.S., so now in many states, it's required to verify your age before entering a pornographic site.
And
ALO,
Twitch should be one of those.
And the parent company of Pornhub is actively suing some of these U.S. states, trying to stop this from happening because they openly admit that requiring their ID before accessing porn actually drives down their traffic by 80%. So for them,
Yeah, wow, it's almost like kids are watching it. It's almost like you could prevent porn addiction by actually putting proper laws in place to prevent it. You know, like an ID, you know, because if you want to make the argument of like, okay, adults should be able to do whatever, so long as the content were legal, which a lot of the time it's not, by the way. Reminder that Pornhub hosts a lot of trafficking and profits off of it and has been sued over it. But, you know, let's say in an imaginary world that does not exist and is not our reality, because it's definitely not, that there is fair and legal porn that are getting all the profits, right? Wouldn't you want there to be a content ID? Wouldn't you want there, like, what? Please tell me what the position is against having an ID of some, even if it's just like a paywall of $1, like where it's harder for a kid to access it. What is the argument against that? That the companies don't make more money? Good. They shouldn't be making dirty money anyway. It's dirty as it is. You know how many porn stars got drugged before they go and shoot those scenes, by the way? Not all of them, obviously, but a large portion of them get offered drugs, they get offered alcohol, so that they do things, or they're more relaxed in things that they didn't necessarily want to do. There's a lot of those stories out there. So, you know, in a perfect world of ethical porn, why would you not want an ID lock? Why would you not want kids to be prevented from seeing that? Again, reminder of the people who are pro kids watching porn. I often hear groomers have that position. I often see them doing that because it normalizes it so they could take advantage of the kids, not giving a shit what happens to the children.
protecting children is not a concern.
WEF, Google it, WEF tracking. Okay, so if you want to say, okay, I don't want my ID on the website, even though you guys submit your ID to all these other things, right? People submit their IDs to things all the time. They submit it to OnlyFans to do OnlyFans porn. So I don't understand why, using that logic, why porn sites wouldn't also do that. OnlyFans does it. Number two, so please explain that to me. Number two, you guys give your IDs all the time. You give it to bouncers. You give it to the people you're going to rent from. People give out their ID all the time to people who are not like in authoritative positions to see it. So again, I don't understand the argument, but let's say you really don't want a porn site seeing your ID. Maybe you don't deserve to watch the porn then. Maybe it's better off that way. But also, if we were to eliminate the ID thing altogether, right? Why not paywall it? Okay, paywall it then. So that because minors have a hard time accessing bank accounts when they're, if you're under 18, unless maybe you're emancipated or something. So create that. Do that to prevent them from watching. Why not paywall it? Paywall it for 1 cent. Do something.
Concern. Maximizing profits is 100% their concern, and they don't seem to care who they harm in the process.
Of course not. I thought it told the whole story when Utah first passed. I think it was Utah passed that.
Good. If you ain't give your ID to a porn site, good. Then if it's not that important to you, then you shouldn't be watching it anyway. Anyway.
Yes.
Of course not. I thought it told the whole story when Utah first passed. I think it was Utah passed that ID law, and instantly Pornhub said, "Okay, we're not doing business in the state of Utah anymore." You said, "Well, there you go.
It's really interesting. Interesting.
And tell me a little bit about the investigation itself, whatever you can, without compromising your methods.
Of course. Well, we were inspired to investigate Pornhub in the first place because of a 2020 New York Times article called "The Children of Pornhub." It really detailed struggles of often underage people to get their abuse videos taken off of Pornhub, which were being advertised and monetized.
Yep.
So Pornhub was benefiting monetarily from these videos, as well as the abusers uploading the videos. And through months and months of requests and begging Pornhub to take these videos down, the videos were not taken down. Only after legal action was taken, this article came out, did Pornhub start really getting scared and taking these things seriously.
And you wouldn't be that aggressive in not taking down if you weren't making money off of it.
But our premise for the whole investigation was maybe their concern was just lip service, and maybe these things are really still going on. So that's what we sought out to prove, and we did. We have multiple previous undercover videos we've published that detail just the lack of age and consent verification for pornographic uploads and pornographic ads going on the site, advertising porn to appeal to pedophiles and young teens. We just have a plethora of undercover footage that we've been putting out.
It's bittersweet to hear that. It really is. But my thing is, if porn sites can't figure out a way for children to be safe, if sites like Twitch cannot figure out a way to have the adult content that's ethical, maybe you shouldn't be allowed to have it. That's how I feel. That's honestly how I feel, because I think children's human rights are more important. I really do. I think their safety is more important. I think their innocence is more important. And maybe it should be harder to get. Maybe you should have to go on the dark web to find it. Just a thought. I think if they literally can't figure out a way for kids to be safe and not be psychologically attacked, going on Twitch, getting their psychology abused and used against them so they become addicted to porn, you can't figure out a way to prevent that on a mass scale when it's literally ruining an entire generation of children, then maybe you shouldn't have the porn site. Maybe it's not good to begin with. Maybe it's causing a lot of bad things in the first place and isn't really helping anyone.
That's
how I feel. People aren't going to like that, but that is how I feel.
This is a ridiculous
premise, it's enraging to watch this. It makes me happy that it's getting exposure, but it's enraging to watch certain people try to argue for the position of being pro kids watching porn, as if that's healthy or good, as if it doesn't lead to very harmful, degenerate, disgusting fetishes, including some that we can't go into depth to talk about on YouTube, but I went over it earlier generally.
But if you were an executive at Pornhub,
like, there should be a higher barrier to entry. I'm sorry, period.
Of a moral conscience,
regardless if you outlaw it or not.
And you found out
there needs to be a barrier to entry.
You've got child pornography on the site, that there are ads being targeted to pedophiles, and that the moment that you say no more kids get to look at Pornhub, your users drop by 80%, that would cause you to reflect and say, wow, this is really bad. But they don't. Instead, they say, if you make us in any way try to keep kids off the site, we're going to boycott your whole state.
I didn't even view it that way. That's actually kind of true, that they did technically boycott the state. I mean, it's good that they stopped showing the state. I'm happy to hear that, but you know what I think of listening to this? I think of if you go to an amusement park, right? You go to a fair, and you guys should go watch the video, Michael Knowles, it's called this. It's called Pornhub Exposed, undercover reporter Arden Young. You guys should go watch it. And the Lauren Chen video hosting it too. If you go to a fair, right, and you let your kids on a ride, roller coaster, water slide, whatever it may be, and the kid goes on the water slide and there's a nail sticking out due to poor construction, and there's just crevices where nails get caught and sharp objects get caught because of the way it's built, and kids keep getting their asses sliced, okay? Like, they're bleeding, they're getting injured, they're getting infections. Some kids are having to go to the hospital over this and having to get treatment for it, take drugs for it, whatever. And it's generally harmful for them. Even that, I don't even know, this comparison is even shorter term than the damage porn would do. But my point is, if you had a fair that was hosting water slides that were harming children, it was dangerous, you wouldn't be like, oh, this is the parents' fault. It's all the parents' fault. What about the parents? You wouldn't say that. You would say, shut that slide the fuck down. That's what you would say. So I don't know why that suddenly changes when it comes to places like Twitch hosting porn to children explicitly to minors 13 plus to make an account. And you can see it even if you're not logged in on an incognito tab. So that's what I have to say to all the people that are saying, no, it's the parents' fault. If this were any other circumstance, they wouldn't be saying that. And I'm very suspicious of the people who say that. They're probably porn addicts themselves, to be honest, because there's a lot. Like, what is it? Like 90% of people watch porn or something. It's a lot. It's a huge statistic. Just common sense, ask people, right? You don't even need a stat to really prove this. It's common sense. It's observable by most people, and you could just ask. And you could see it through the hypersexuality in content. You could see it through Twitch trying to desperately make money off of it. They know that's what makes money. They close down the Korean site. They're not making enough money. They're bleeding. What do? They allow porn so they make more money. It's pretty common sense, right? So I don't understand why the parents who are doing the best they can get the blame for it. Meanwhile, there's these predatory companies out here specifically abusing child psychology to get your kid addicted to something that will be harmful to them in the future too. And affect them in how they view other people, affect how they view intimacy, affect how they view relationships. How do you think that mentally affects you if the first exposure you have to sex is a furry peeing on someone as another guy's donger is in a cage? Like, how do you think that affects a child's perception of intimacy and romance and viewing other humans? I would really think about that. And I would really think about how much blame we put on the parents when there's already parents doing the best they can and they have to work how many hours and they can't literally hover over their child's shoulder every second of the day. How are you going to blame the parents when the companies are specifically being predators, preying after your kids and using their psychology against them to get them addicted to their site? How can you blame the parents for that? So it's not the parents. These sites are specifically going after kids, as you saw with the Pornhub interview. And it's really unfortunate that people will bootlick for companies that don't give a fuck about them and are profiting off of your kids' demise. They're profiting off of your suffering and your children's potential suffering and them developing weird, unhealthy fetishes and kinks. Dysfunctional shit. Potentially becoming attracted to diapers and disgusting substances type of shit. Okay, that's when I start cursing, is when it comes to children's rights, when it comes to this sort of thing. That's when I start getting really upset because of the pro kids should watch porn position and people defending and bootlicking. I can't take it. It really pisses me off how this isn't just common sense. Yes, attracted diapers, like people in pornography pulling out paraphernalia, pulling out a binky, pulling out, going goo goo gaga, dressing in little girls' clothing on purpose. Not just, they're dressing cute. No, they're purposely dressing like a baby. They're dressing like, not like, it's Lolita, it's a fashion doll, it's inspired from Japan. No, I'm talking about they're specifically putting on diapers. They're putting on little girls' clothes and going, ooh, goo goo gaga, making little baby noises constantly, doing explicit content. They're targeting a certain audience, usually little boys or men. And they make that content, and then when they watch, whatever they watch is what they become attracted to. So if they're watching over and over in their adolescence when they have an underdeveloped brain, what do you think is happening? What do you think they're developing attractions to? When you have Google Gaga and they shake the little wand thing, what do you think is happening? What do you think they're becoming attracted to? That's not healthy. So, yeah, but it's the parents' fault. It's not Twitch hosting colorful anime girls with bright colors and cartoonish art styles, completely nude and naked with explicit imagery, bending over into the camera completely nude. It's not that. It's not Twitch hosting children's psychology being abused. No, it's not their fault. It's the parents' fault. Like, get out of here with that. Okay, I'm going to read the donations now. Because my throat's starting to hurt. Andrew Thomas, $5. Hey, Venti, looking really beautiful with the glasses. Great job on Chrissy's Simpcast on Sunday discussing both Destiny and Japan. Thank you. By the way, Reed Street Soap. If you guys want some soap or candles, there are a lot of great options here. Let me show you. I helped design this new one that Michelle posted today, and it's under, I think it should be under Brittany Venti. Yes, Blushing Gingerbread Woman, and it's a gingerbread scent, and it's very sweet. It's very pretty. I have a copy of it here. It's not by my desk, but my copy is like a hotter pink versus this one is more like a soft pink, which is more what I wanted for the winter vibe. But it's very pretty and it smells really good, and they last a while, so would recommend. So if you guys want to buy that, go to reedsoap.shop. That's under the Brittany Venti section, but there's also a winter collections section on the site. And you can find all of the holiday scents here. The most popular one, I think, is the hot cocoa mug. That one is on back order a lot of the time. But there's a gingerbread soap, and there's a few different flavors. Like this one, the Candy Cane Lane, that one literally does smell like candy canes. So if you like that, get that one. Or the, what's another good one? I like the Holly Tree one. It literally smells vintage. I don't know how else to describe it, but it smells like vintage Christmas tree, Christmas time. That's how it smells. I really like that one. And the Winter Wonderland one's really pretty. So I recommend those. And there's obviously soaps too, but you guys can scroll through or use the search bar to search whatever you want, whatever scent you're looking for. Anyway, back to the donations. Solutions. I already talked about what I said I think a solution is. I gave a few of them, actually. The final solution. Like, literally, I make ID, or... Because OnlyFans asks for ID. Nobody complains about that. Or charge a small fee for having to watch it so that kids can't buy it, or at least really struggle to. Like, whatever it is, the wall... The barrier to entry needs to be taller, because right now you go on Twitch and you just scroll through and you don't even need to click anything or log in or anything. And they explicitly say 13-year-olds can be on there. So it needs to be, whatever it is, the barrier to entry, it needs to be, the wall to it needs to be higher than that. Oh, and for Reed Street Soap, by the way, if you use promo code Merry Christmas, you get 15% off. And if you use code PRESENT, you get a free mystery gift off of the site, and it's a random like soap or candle depending what Michelle feels like giving you. So if you want to test your luck with that, you can. Maybe if she's feeling really nice, if you leave her a note for which flavor you like, what kind of flavor you like, maybe she'll take it into consideration. But yeah, it's your choice. It's either or. The 15% off with Merry Christmas, or you can get the mystery gift with present coupon code. Cow Goddess, thank you for the $5. Hello. Adox, $5 super chat. You should talk to Sydney Watson. She made a great video recently about the weirdness about the Barely Legal Society. I've been meaning to watch that video. I like the topic choice on that one. I don't know how she managed to do that with like getting monetized though. They demonetize over anything nowadays. They really do incentivize people to not speak up about predatory things because they just demonetize you on YouTube. It's ridiculous. Towns, $5 super chat. Hang, dong, or GTFO. Is that like tits or GTFO? But like Moid version. S'more 549. I'm so glad I'm not a kid growing up in these times. Mobile phones were just becoming a thing in my childhood. Yeah, I mean, imagine you have to deal with filters too. Like, that's why Gen Alpha is so obsessed with like skincare and all that and age prevention, I think. Like to an unhealthy degree. Nobody at all 3652 $5. Take my money. Say no more. Towns, $10 super chat. Brittany seething against Roman sculptures she can never emulate. Shouldn't be a deterrent, brothers. I love Roman Greek statues. They're aesthetic. Everyone likes them, except for people who are overly sensitive and think it's like racist to like them or whatever. Mahendra fan, $10 Should minors be allowed to use the internet unsupervised? How about intellectually disabled adults or extremely low IQ adults? I'm not sure. I would have to think about that. Because there's definitely sites that are beneficial to all those groups, though, on the internet. So I'm gonna go ahead and say no. I'm gonna say that they should be allowed to. Just because there's a lot of useful resources for all of those demographics that could actually help their lives, especially with like AI coming out, and it's very effective versus just Googling a bunch of different things. You could just have it all at once, especially with research and things like that. Or like if you have to do a paper or something. Yeah, Gen Alpha, can you believe that? Like, as young as they are, they're like they're on TikTok and like obsessed with skincare. It's crazy. Mahendra fan, thank you though. Rocket Bronson, $4.99. I think it's best to keep parents informed for sure. Twitch is only getting worse. I mean, yeah, it would help, but Smart 220. Twitch is making money, but also needs reeks of social engineering, creating broken people and sabotaging healthy future family units from forming. Well, Twitch is very communist, so I actually don't think that that's far-fetched. They're very outright communist, especially with all their like strict rules. Like you can't do anything on that fucking site. Like, even if it's contextual humor or humorous or like anything, and they're very ban happy. They're very much the opposite of free speech. And no, I don't think porn is free speech, especially when it comes to minors being affected negatively from it. There's many forms of speech that's illegal, and yet we still call it free speech. So, and no, it's not the same as saying that like you should be able to say a slur and that being free speech. But I don't think taking away other people's freedom is free speech, generally. That's why most of those things are illegal. Like anything that takes away someone else's speech. So like generally silencing them, physical violence, slander, things like that. And I do think that this is taking away basic human rights of children's innocence. So that's how I feel. Isabella, thank you for being a subscriber for 23 months. Women need to know they are worth more. Yeah, I'm worth 23 months. Ronsu, $5. I'm tired. The world is just promoting if you want to be successful, just show some butthole and sexual objects, and they're letting the lollies wild out. Yeah, apparently that's all you're worth, is like what you physically have to offer through your sexuality. It's very much like sending the wrong message to everyone. I agree. Village Idiot, $4.99 super chat. Not only porn is going to be exposed to minors, Twitch is allowing this content, and it's going to push regular streamers down the kill small streamers. Oh yeah, for sure, because you see already that the meta changed everything. It's only been like 48 hours and there's dicks everywhere. Yeah, a lot of the normal streamers are I saw people with their titles as like, where is it? I'm gonna pull it up. I have to like sit here and individually scroll through it, but I'm gonna show a few of them. So I don't know if you guys realize this, but with their policy change, it included like other stuff too, like this, you know. So this was on the page. Like, oh, that's gonna get viewers, so I'm gonna do that. Or how about this? The most natural girl on Twitch, and then it's just naked from here down. Not shown on screen immediately, but you know, implied. You know, you have this, and this is all right out in the open. You're just scrolling. You're just kids scrolling through, and that's what you see. No confirmation, nothing. Oh yeah, this girl with her title, sexual content policy change. Like they were excited about this. They were bragging about it in the thumbnails and in the titles. It was crazy. This is basically the TLDR of it. This meme is accurate. I wish I could show you guys how bad it is, but I don't want to like defeat the point of what I'm saying by like showing explicit content. But I feel like most people can get the gist. But I just really feel like if you saw it like uncensored, you'd understand how graphic it is. Like, you need to understand the nipples were shining and bright, you know, like it was very explicit. It wasn't like just some tasteful naked Renaissance art or something. All right, this is pornographic. S'more 220, did you fall into Vincent van Gogh or a Van Gogh painting? The background looks cool. Thank you. This is my favorite one so far too. Ministry of Wrong Think, $9.99 super chat. Thank you. Relax, Brittany. At least Twitch streamers are very responsible and didn't totally stretch the TOS as far as they could. Imagine how bad it would be if they did. Grand Palskin $4.99, but no mud cookies. Yeah, mud cookies were worse. That's what I'm saying. Like, mud cookies were worse than this. Okay. They literally banned me for making mud cookies. Kate, Katrina Cara, $5. Please make sure to tell your friends with kids about this too. Spread the word on social media because a lot of parents are out of the loop about this right now. Yeah, tell your Facebook groups. I don't have anybody to tell personally in that way. Everyone around me that would need to know would already know about this. Nobody at all, 3652. Even though you're mad, your voice is relaxing. I don't know. My voice is running out at this point. I have to like bring the microphone closer or something so I can like give it a break. Ministry of Wrong Think, $4.99. Doesn't full frontal nudity online require persons viewing it to be over 18? How is it not illegal? Literally, it's porn. That's what I'm saying. It's explicitly porn. Tamara, $5. Thank you for enabling us to harness our divine feminine energy. Twerks. Yeah. Divine feminine art. Rocket Bronson, $5 through chat. Did you hear about the AI influencer models? Yeah, men are paying for AI generated nudes. Just sad, man. It is sad. If I saw a guy, if I were dating someone, I found out that they were paying for some AI titties. Oh my God. That's just pathetic. How could you look so in the eyes after that? That's gotta be the most pathetic thing ever. Like, of all the addictions, that's the one you choose? Jesus. How, like, could you commit any more cringe being an addict? Like, there's all these flavors of being an addict and that's the one you chose? Ew. Damn, like at that point, I think most women almost rather hear the guy went to like a strip club before that. That's just like very loser. So gross. I watched a streamer for about 4 years from Oak. $5. I only use Twitch like once a month and I told her it was while TOS was bent. She told me people are dying and that's my concern and told me to use it less if that's how I feel. That was 3 days ago. Feels justified. I feel like that's a logical fallacy, isn't it? Like, oh, bigger problem happened, so yours is. It's kind of like if I complain to you and you're like, oh, but African children are starving. Okay, but I can also have a problem. I can also be feeling pain. Like, why is pain mutually exclusive? Why are problems mutually exclusive? I understand it gets to a point where things are petty, but this is certainly not a petty complaint. It has very, very bad implications, and I'm very concerned in the sex trafficking aspect of it in regard to Twitch. I don't think that that's, oh, people are dying, worthy of a retort. S'more 220. The neckbeard talking about corn sites sounds like putting fat models on trans models on Victoria's Secret, pushing the envelope, and wrecking the brand and sale to push identity politics sever. Yeah, but with porn it'll work because you know how with drugs you go down the slope a lot of the time. Like there's the gateway drug, which is usually like alcohol or marijuana or something, right? And then from there usually people will go to the harder drugs. In that same sense, porn is that same way, where people can start out watching vanilla porn, then you have that gross limp wrist motherfucker talking about how he wants to push like trans porn to children. So because someone could start out straight, and then it goes to bi, and then it goes to porn, and then it goes to furries, and it goes to little girls, women acting like little girls and dressing up like little girls. And you understand, like, it doesn't always go all the way down the pipeline, but there is a pipeline there, and it does progressively get worse for a lot of people in what they choose to watch. Obviously, some people never make it to that point, and they just, you know, stick to their like straight normal stuff. But honestly, guys, it's hard to even know where the content you watch is sourced from, when a lot of these sites literally have like are child trafficking, and they don't verify the age of the person posting or the person being posted. Like, they don't even verify the age of the person viewing it. They're very irresponsible. So you actually most of the time don't know what you're watching, and you could be watching CP and not even know it. So there's that too. It's not the slippery slope. What if you said that about drugs? What if I said, oh, you know what? You can't point out that heroin is bad, and heroin addicts, they become addicted to heroin, or people become addicted to meth. You're not allowed to point that out because slippery slope. Like, okay, but that's literally how it happened. They usually start on a lesser drug and then progress worse and worse. That's actually, like, there's rehab. There's addicts out there that are seeking treatment. This is an actual observable phenomenon that's very well known and very well established, like very common sense. You can't just say, oh, slippery slope. Like, there are meth addicts. There are heroin addicts. People with gambling addictions are a great example. They start off small, and what happens? They gamble more and more and more. That's a general trend for addictions. That's why they're addictive. That's why they're a problem in the first place. Duh. How is that slippery? Oh, no, it's just slippery slope. Shut the fuck up, dumbass. Mahandra, 10 Australian dollars. This kind of grooming also happens violence. Kids joining the army and police 18 have been conditioned through childhood. That's an interesting point. My first thoughts on that sort of thing is definitely more like third world country, like giving them a gun type of thing, like in East Bumblefuck Africa, that type of thing. But I never considered that in terms of like the army, because the army definitely does utilizes psychology to get people to do what they want, right? And they do go for like the youngest possible, right? S'more 220. Neckbeard groomer sounds like a British cigarette. I agree. Walkia Lion for $20. Thank you. For $20, I shouldn't have messed up your name. Hello, Miss Venti. I was wondering if you would ever consider having Brandy Love on your e-girl show. On Simcast? It would be very interesting, especially what happened after Chrissy's special. I mean, you'd have to ask Chrissy for that. Also, I have a video request called Duck Job if you're willing. I'm not doing video requests right now. But thank you. I think it'd be interesting to hear what she has to say after that incident. Maybe it'd be funny to see like her and Alex Stein on again, but like I wouldn't blame her if she wouldn't want to. Like if you're gonna get like, if he would agree to not just like insult or something, then that'd be interesting. But I don't know if she'd be willing to. Bosons, $25. Wish they still had audio video version, but it got taken down. The best we can do, but Merry December. Merry Christmas, you mean? Everyone's saying Merry Christmas in chat. We need a reminder that it's Merry Christmas. Even if you're not Christian, I don't give a fuck. American holiday. Merry Christmas. And be aggressive about saying Merry Christmas too. Someone says Happy Holiday, cut them off. Merry Christmas. You see that? You see a card with Happy Holidays on it? Get a big black Sharpie Merry Christmas on it, okay? America. Dev Copper, thank you for the 99-cent super chat. Isabella Live, I really thank you for that, for being a subscriber for so long. And Spectral Citizen, always the longest, 67 months as a subscriber. The ID solution would kill the traffic. That's why they would never do it, like in the state of Utah. I know, but it's like clearly their money's dirty money. Maybe they shouldn't have money at all. S'more 220. Someone tried blackmailing Anna with AI generated news. I think I saw that tweet scrolling through. I can't believe that. Like, the audacity. I remember that one streamer girl like crying over like the fake porn of her or whatever. And I actually empathize with that because that actually is kind of traumatic. That's like very gross. It's very traumatic. These coomers, they must be stopped. Anyway, now that I tuckered myself out, make sure you guys go to honestly, like, who do you even complain to this about? Like the Better Business Bureau? I don't think they do anything legal. Twitch literally does need to be sued by the government for this. It's honestly worse than YouTube because you're not seeing. There's stuff on YouTube that shouldn't be on there, and there's kids on the site, but it's just so blatant with Twitch. It's like literally thrown and promoted in your face, versus YouTube at least doesn't like promote it in your face like that. Like I can't believe that they thought this was a good idea. I hope they don't get away with this. I really hope they get sued for this. I do. You shouldn't be watching some Fortnite and be able to accidentally click on porn. And when it's a site that all these people like, literally they say 13-year-olds can be on there. It's in their fucking TOS. Don't come at me with that. Like, oh, well, you know, the parents, they literally want 13-year-olds watching that shit. Literally read it with your eyes. Okay, I can even read with my two very far apart ones. You can't read it? Get out of here. Anyway, read soap.shop. Make sure you guys go buy some candles and soaps for the holidays. Or maybe as a gift. I don't know. There's the link. And it'll be in the description. Have a good night, guys. File a complaint at your Attorney General's office. Yeah, maybe that'll work. Maybe that'll work. Have a good night, everyone. Everyone except for Twitch.